I had a 7-2 Daystar out on a walking vlog. It's been a bit since there's been really good conditions to do a walking vlog, but I'm going to try a short one today anyways. Hopefully it won't rain on my iPhone here. I was having a back and forth, as well as many other people, having a back and forth with Mars on the Hill. He's hosted by a guy named Peter. He's quite a knowledgeable guy, and he seems to be fairly open. Sorry, just a bird. Fairly open to, dissenting opinions so long as they're polite, but I was getting a little frustrated with him because he just wasn't. I don't think he was, I guess it was just, I tried to explain something like 3 times, and he kept throwing it back at me, implying that I was contradicting myself. And here's what it was. It was on the Kalam Cosmological Argument. I'm not familiar with that. Very simple. It's got the simplified form as 3 points. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist. Therefore, the universe has a cause. And to make a long story short, that cause is God. Yeah. That's really the weakest part of the argument, but we got stuck in this thread dealing with the tougher part of the argument. The tougher part of the argument is showing that those 3 positions are either unsound or invalid. I think they may be valid, but I think they're unsound. They're unsound because of what we know about physics and cosmology. There's a great video online here where Stephen Hawking, the well-known sufferer of Lou Gehrig's disease, plus he's one of the lead minds in current cosmology and theoretical physics. He says that at the beginning of the universe, we have a time there is no time. Time breaks down. There's no time, so there's really no place for there to be a cause. And we can explain the existence of the universe in terms of its energy. I've heard that so many times. It goes to the argument that in order to cause the universe, it has to be a sufficient cause, so it has to have as much energy as the universe in total. Which sounds good at first, but apparently we're all existing on borrowed energy. As Hawking explained it, the borrowed energy comes from gravity, and it's paid back presumably at the end of time. So really, the net energy of the universe is 0. And he kept misunderstanding, which is really surprising because he does otherwise seem to be quite a smart guy, this Peter. But he just was, in my mind, deliberately misrepresenting that point, making it sound like Stephen Hawking thought everything is nothing. And he's not saying that. And that seemed to be a deliberate mischaracterization. And so that kind of got my hackles up, and I came at it again, trying to explain the same thing several times. He makes this point. I make the point first that we have every reason to believe that reason does not apply to any preconditions of the existence of the universe. Why? Well, I would cite Hawking, and his work is based on Einstein, that in those really rare conditions now in the universe, but in a black hole beyond the event horizon, time ceases to exist. Also, in the singularity that led to the Big Bang, time does not exist. And to quote Stephen Hawking, deterministic logic that we're familiar with in our everyday existence doesn't work there. It's on that reason. I am here in a temporally bounded space, spatially bounded, using reason, because reason is itself temporally and spatially bounded. All that Stephen Hawking is doing is assuming that impossible things are impossible. That is, being itself is bound by space and time. So if you don't have space and time, you don't have being. All you have to do to refute this, I suppose, is to show us being that is separate from space and time. Now, I don't think you can do that, and I think that's where those sort of arguments fail. You have to suppose that despite the fact that we have no place to be and no time to be, that a being, of course the Kalam just says it's the cause, but obviously these arguments are put forward by theists who want to, with a few intermediate points, to lead us to the Christian God, Yahweh, not to Marduk or Tiamat or the Titans or anyone else who has creator tales attached to them. No, this is specifically we're going to get to the Christian God through this way. And I just think that's a huge non sequitur. That's the weaker part of the argument. But to address the stronger part of the argument, based on what is known about physics, with an appeal to authority of Stephen Hawking, which I don't really think is illegitimate here. He's the best authority we could appeal to. If you don't have a time and a space, then you can't talk about cause. Deterministic logic breaks down under those conditions. And yeah, that's a reasonable thing to say, and it's not entirely based on reason. It's also based on evidence. That's all I have to say about that. Anyways, check out Mars on the Hill, which is kind of an ironic name, don't you think? In Seoul, has some interesting conversations going on there. Anyways, 72 Daystar, out.